In a moment that has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and beyond, the woman at the center of the storm has finally taken the stand. Cassie Ventura, the former girlfriend of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, stepped into a New York courtroom today, her presence a stark and undeniable focal point in the government's escalating sex trafficking case against him. For over a decade, their relationship remained largely shrouded in the glitz and glamour of the celebrity world, a seemingly inseparable pair navigating red carpets and industry events. But beneath the surface, according to Ventura's harrowing testimony, lay a world of alleged control, abuse, and deeply disturbing sexual demands that are now being laid bare for the world to witness. Think back to the early 2000s. Cassie Ventura, a fresh-faced talent with a promising music career, signed to Diddy's powerhouse Bad Boy Records in 2006 at just 19 years old. Initially, their connection was described as platonic, a powerful mentor guiding a young artist. Ventura herself testified to seeing Combs as a larger-than-life figure, a man who initially looked out for her. But as their professional relationship evolved, so too did a personal one, marked by a seemingly innocuous first kiss during her 21st birthday celebrations in Las Vegas. An advance Ventura described as leaving her really confused. Was this seemingly awkward kiss an early sign of the power dynamics that would allegedly define their tumultuous relationship? Did Ventura's initial confusion hint at a deeper discomfort with the blurring lines between her professional aspirations and Combs's personal desires? As Ventura continued her testimony, a picture began to emerge of a young woman increasingly enmeshed in Combs's world, a world where he called all of the shots in her career. She described him as a fun guy who also happened to have my career in his hands, a statement that chillingly underscores the inherent power imbalance that allegedly existed from the outset. This dynamic, according to Ventura, soon extended far beyond her professional life, seeping into the very fabric of her personal existence. She recounted moving to New York to be closer to Combs, then later to Los Angeles, driven by a love for a man who controlled not only her career trajectory, but, as she testified, also the way she dressed and who she spoke to. At what point did the initial enamorment Ventura described transform into a feeling of being controlled? What specific instances did she provide to illustrate the extent of Combs's alleged control over her daily life and career decisions? Then came the bombshell revelation, the introduction of freak-offs. Ventura recounted how, within the first year of their relationship, Combs allegedly proposed this sexual encounter that he called voyeurism, where he would watch me be in intercourse with a third party, specifically with another man. The term itself, freak off, carries a disturbing connotation, and Ventura's testimony painted a picture of her eventually feeling obligated to participate in these encounters, which involved hiring an escort and setting up this experience so that I could perform for Sean. Her chilling admission that eventually it became a job for me, pretty much, sends a shiver down the spine. How did Ventura reconcile her initial confusion and discomfort with the eventual normalization of these alleged freak-offs? What specific emotional and psychological toll did these experiences allegedly take on her, as suggested by her testimony about it becoming a job? Perhaps the most harrowing aspect of Ventura's testimony thus far has been her description of the alleged violence she endured. He would smash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head if I was down, she stated, her words painting a brutal and terrifying reality of their relationship behind closed doors. When asked about the frequency of this alleged physical abuse, her simple yet devastating answer, "Too frequently," speaks volumes about the trauma she claims to have experienced. She recounted suffering injuries, knots on her forehead, busted lips, bruises all over her body, physical manifestations of the alleged abuse. Given the severity of the alleged physical violence described by Ventura, will the prosecution present any physical evidence, such as photos or medical records, to corroborate her claims? How might the defense attempt to explain these alleged injuries, potentially suggesting alternative causes or inconsistencies in her testimony? Adding another layer of alleged manipulation and control, Ventura testified about her fear of blackmail materials being made public. She revealed that she kept broken electronic devices, fearing the unknown content they might hold. This chilling detail suggests a calculated effort by Combs to maintain power over her, even after their relationship ended. What specific types of blackmail materials did Ventura fear, and did she elaborate on any instances where Combs allegedly threatened to use these materials against her? How does this alleged fear of blackmail factor into the prosecution's broader narrative of coercion and control? Ventura's testimony also touched upon the complexities of her emotional connection to Combs. She described initially being enamored by him, drawn to his exciting personality and the power he held over her career. Even as she began to see his abusive side, she admitted that there was still love there, highlighting the often confusing and entrapping dynamics of abusive relationships. She spoke of Combs's extreme control over her life, yet also acknowledged his charm and the difficulty in navigating his conflicting personas. How does Ventura's admission of continued love for Combs complicate the prosecution's narrative of her as a pure victim? How might the defense leverage these admissions to suggest a more complex and perhaps consensual dynamic within their relationship? As Ventura's powerful testimony continues, the courtroom hangs heavy with the weight of her words. Her account offers a disturbing glimpse behind the curtain of fame and fortune, revealing allegations of abuse, control, and exploitation that could have profound implications for Sean Diddy Combs's future. The questions raised in just the first part of her testimony are numerous and deeply unsettling. The world watches. To witness the unfolding of this crucial testimony and to gain in-depth analysis of every key moment in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, be sure to subscribe to C-Trends and hit that notification bell. We are dedicated to bringing you the full story as it develops. If you are grappling with issues of intimate partner violence or know someone who is, please remember that resources are available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline provides confidential support and information. You are not alone. Stay tuned to C-Trends as we continue to follow this landmark trial, seeking answers to the many questions that Cassie Ventura's powerful testimony has already raised. What will the defense's cross-examination reveal? What other witnesses will take the stand, and what further shocking details might emerge? The truth, it seems, is only just beginning to surface. The courtroom held its breath as Cassie Ventura, Sean Diddy Combs' former girlfriend, finally took the stand in the government's high-stakes sex trafficking case against the music mogul. Her appearance, walking past the jury box with a composed yet undoubtedly significant air, marked a pivotal moment in a trial that has already been filled with shocking allegations and strategic legal maneuvering. As prosecutor Emily Johnson began her direct examination, the focus of the trial shifted squarely onto Ventura's decade-long relationship with Combs and the experiences she claims to have endured. Earlier in the day, Ventura's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, conveyed her readiness and confidence to reporters, signaling the gravity and importance of her testimony. When asked by prosecutor Johnson how she knew Sean Diddy Combs, Ventura's simple yet powerful response, "We were in a relationship for a little over 10 years. Laid the foundation for the personal and often harrowing details that would follow." She soon began to describe a relationship marred by violence, stating that their arguments would frequently escalate into some sort of physical abuse. Her subsequent description of the alleged violence was stark and disturbing. "He would smash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head if I was down," she testified, painting a brutal picture of the power dynamics within their relationship. When Johnson inquired about the frequency of this physical abuse, Ventura's concise answer, "too frequently," resonated with the gravity of her claims. She further detailed the injuries she allegedly sustained, including knots on her forehead, busted lips, and bruises across her body. Given the graphic nature of Ventura's allegations of physical abuse, what specific pieces of corroborating evidence, such as medical records or witness testimonies from others who may have observed these injuries, might the prosecution present to support her claims? How will the defense attempt to counter these allegations of violence, potentially by questioning the consistency or severity of her accounts, or by suggesting alternative explanations for her injuries? Prosecutor Johnson then turned to a particularly disturbing aspect of Ventura's anticipated testimony, presenting the well-known hotel surveillance footage from the Intercontinental in 2016. Ventura identified herself in the image, stating that she was leaving after an encounter that we called a freak-off. Her subsequent explanation of what a freak-off entailed sent a palpable shock through the courtroom. According to Ventura, within the first year of their relationship, Combs proposed this sexual encounter that he called voyeurism, where he would watch me be in intercourse with a third party, specifically with another man. She further testified that a freak-off would involve hiring an escort and setting up this experience so that I could perform for Sean. While she couldn't recall the origin of the term freak-off, she stated that Combs introduced it to her. Disturbingly, Ventura described how these encounters eventually transformed into an obligation, stating, "Eventually it became a job for me, pretty much, so I knew if it was something he wanted me to do, I had the contacts to set it up and get a hotel room and all of that, but in the beginning, Sean set it up. He was in charge." Ventura's testimony raises numerous disturbing questions. How frequently did these alleged freak-offs occur throughout their 10-year relationship? Did she elaborate on the process of hiring escorts and the specific instructions she allegedly received? From Combs? How will the prosecution attempt to establish that Ventura's participation in these acts was not consensual and constituted sex trafficking? Ventura's emotional state became evident as she recalled the initial proposal of freak-offs, describing a feeling of her stomach falling. She testified to a sense of responsibility driven by her love for Combs and her desire to please him. "I knew it wasn't something I wanted to be doing, especially as regularly as it became, but again, I was just in love and wanted to make him happy," she stated, highlighting the complex emotional dynamics of their relationship. Most significantly, Ventura expressed a profound sense of powerlessness, stating that she didn't know how to refuse these requests. "It got to a point where I just didn't feel like I had much of a choice, didn't really know what no could be or what no could turn into," she testified, underscoring the alleged control Combs exerted over her life. She further elaborated on this control, stating that Combs dictated a lot of her life, from her career to her appearance. "And I just didn't feel like I had much say in it at that time, being really super young, naive, total people-pleaser," she explained, adding, "I didn't know if he would be upset enough to be violent or if he would write me off and just not want to be with me at all." Ventura's testimony about feeling unable to refuse raises critical questions about the nature of consent within their relationship. How will the prosecution attempt to demonstrate that the alleged freak-offs and other sexual acts were not consensual due to coercion, fear, or the power imbalance between Combs and a young artist under his control? What specific instances of threats or intimidation might Ventura recount to support her claims of lacking agency? Adding another layer of potential coercion, Ventura testified that she was also afraid that blackmail materials would become public. She revealed that she kept broken laptops, iPads, and phones because she was unsure what sensitive material they contained. This fear of potential exposure further underscores the alleged control and manipulation within the relationship. Sean is a really polarizing person, also very charming, so it's hard to be able to decide in that moment like what you need when he's telling you what he wants, she explained, highlighting the complex and often contradictory nature of Combs's personality. Ventura's fear of blackmail materials raises significant questions about the nature of these materials and how Combs allegedly used them to exert control. Did she elaborate on the content of these materials or specific instances where Combs allegedly threatened to release them? How might the prosecution attempt to recover or present evidence of these alleged blackmail materials? Ventura also shed light on the initial stages of their relationship, stating that it began platonically after she signed a contract with Combs's Bad Boy Records in early 2006 when she was just 19 years old. She described her initial perception of Combs as a larger-than-life music entrepreneur and recounted how he looked out for her during some rough performances. Prosecutor Johnson presented a photo of Ventura and Combs together in 2006, the year she signed her record deal, visually establishing the timeline of their association. Ventura then described a turning point in August 2007, during her 21st birthday celebration in Las Vegas, when Combs kissed her in a bathroom. "I was just really confused at the time," she testified, noting her youth and inexperience in the music industry. She recounted crying and running off after the unwanted kiss. When Johnson directly asked if she wanted to kiss Combs on her 21st birthday, Ventura's emphatic, "No, not at my 21st birthday," underscored the non-consensual nature of the advance. Ventura's account of the unwanted kiss early in their relationship provides an early indication of potential power dynamics and a lack of respect for her boundaries. How might the prosecution argue that this incident foreshadowed the later alleged abuse and exploitation within their relationship? Ventura further detailed how Combs exerted significant control over her career, stating, "He called most of the shots, well, all of the shots. I had a new record, I would play it for him. He chose what was next for me, basically." She described Combs as a fun guy that also happened to have my career in his hands, highlighting the inherent power imbalance in their professional and personal relationship. Following the unwanted kiss, Ventura recounted Combs inviting her to hotel rooms in New York, where he was staying during renovations to his home. She stated that they began to develop a more comfortable relationship, driven by her desire to be around him due to his exciting personality and his control over her career. "It felt special because not a lot of people got that time with him," she admitted. Ventura described herself as sexually inexperienced at this time, recounting an incident where Combs performed oral sex on her and made her feel crazy for not reciprocating. "I was just so young, I didn't even have the vocabulary for some of the things that we talked about," she testified, adding that she was still in a relationship with someone else at the time. Ventura's description of her early sexual encounters with Combs reveals a significant power imbalance and potential exploitation of her naivete and dependence on him for her career. How might the prosecution argue that these early experiences set a pattern of control and diminished her ability to consent to later sexual acts? Ventura recounted a trip to Miami with Combs and friends, during which she took ecstasy that Combs allegedly gave her while they were drinking and partying on a boat. She testified that she and Combs had sex for the first time during this trip. Following the Miami trip, Ventura stated that she became one of Sean Combs's many girlfriends, acknowledging the non-monogamous nature of their relationship despite his occasional assurances of exclusivity. She described initially being enamored by Combs, but later began to see his abusive side, characterized by extreme control over her life, from her appearance to her career and social interactions. She described his moods as volatile, stating that even a wrong face could lead to physical abuse. Ventura also recounted how Combs would constantly monitor her communication and even send staff to locate her if she didn't respond promptly. She eventually moved to Los Angeles to be closer to Combs, driven by her love for him, and he paid her rent, retaining keys to her residences. Despite this, she eventually bought her own house to gain that freedom for myself. Ventura also revealed that despite her record deal, 9 of her albums were never released, stifling her career. Finally, she described the debilitating nature of the alleged freak-offs, which could last for days, leaving her spending significant time recovering from drug use and dehydration. The freak-offs became a job where there was no space to do anything else but to recover and just try to feel normal again, she testified. The jury was ultimately dismissed for a lunch break, with Cassie Ventura scheduled to return to the stand to continue her crucial testimony. The details revealed so far paint a disturbing picture of control, abuse, and exploitation, leaving the courtroom and the public eager to hear more from Ventura and to see how the defense will attempt to counter her powerful account. To stay up to date on every development in Cassie Ventura's gripping testimony and the ongoing Sean Diddy Combs trial, make sure you are subscribed to C Trends and have your notifications turned on. We are committed to bringing you the most comprehensive and insightful coverage of this landmark case. If you are interested in learning more about the dynamics of power and control in celebrity relationships or the legal complexities of Diddy trafficking cases, be sure to check out our videos on Inside the Court. Day 1. The shocking opening you need to see. And Inside the Court. The first testimony reveals all. You can find the links to these videos on your screen right now. Thank you for following this important story with C Trends. We will be back with more updates as Ventura's testimony continues.